And we're live now. Good afternoon, good evening to everyone. Welcome to my sports YouTube channel, Sig Davis Sports, where I do sports content and interviews with athletes and sports related people. And my guest today is former fighter Tim Witherspoon Jr., who's a son of former world heavyweight champion Tim Witherspoon, who fought the likes of Larry Holmes and James Bond Crusher Smith. And we're going to talk a little bit about his career, his dad's career, and his career as well, and what he does now. So, Tim, welcome to my channel. Welcome to my space. A pleasure and good to have you here, man. How are you?
Thanks for having me. I'm doing great. It's a pleasure to be here, man. Yeah.
Uh, Pleasure is mine. So tell me a little bit about your beginnings your beginnings, your life, where you grew up, and how did you start with the sport of boxing?
Yeah. So, uh, when I was 1 years old, my dad uh, was doing really good in boxing. So he moved us to a place uh, called Bucks County, Pennsylvania. See, my dad is from Philadelphia. I know you've heard of Philadelphia. Um,
Yeah.
and it's not really for some areas it's not really the greatest area. And where my dad grew up, it wasn't really the greatest area to grow up, so he moved us to a place called Bucks County, and I grew up there, which is a pretty good place to live, pretty safe, uh, a lot of activities to do and things like that. But the one activity that my family did was boxing, and there's no boxing at that time. There was no boxing where I grew up, so I had to go into Philadelphia every day to train to become a fighter. And I think the way that I got started was I like sports, but my dad was always traveling a lot. So when he would come home, I would want to go to the gym with him, and he would take me to the gym, and I would play around and stuff like that. But then eventually, playing around turned into me becoming serious, and that's how it all started.
Okay. So I know that your dad is also from Philadelphia, where there were also other great champions like, if I'm not mistaken,
Yes.
now Jaron Boots Ennis, Bernard Hopkins, Matthew Sad Mohammed, if I'm not mistaken, also. And if we want to
Yes.
go back, Tommy Logren, the great like heavyweight of the 30s,
Right.
1930s.
Right. 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 There's a lot of fighters. You didn't even mention Joe Frazier, did you?
Of course, right. Joe Fresh, of course.
Jo-
Joe.
yeah, Joe Frazier, Danny Garcia. There's just so many world champs. It's just a good place to uh, come from to be a fighter. Even people that you never heard of from Philadelphia are good fighters. So it's just yeah, man, it's a blessing.
Yeah, I personally went to Philadelphia 3 years ago. Absolutely love it, and I know that's a very good. It's a nice city, and also has a lot of boxing history.
Yeah.
So okay, going from, okay, you say from Philadelphia to, what was the other place you mentioned?
I live in a place called Bucks County, Pennsylvania. Is where you ever watch the TV show Sesame Street? You never watched Sesame Street?
That like the cartoon, like the
like
cartoon.
like with puppets, with Big
Yeah,
Bird
yes,
and
yes, I remember.
Elmo.
Yeah, I remember.
That is I live where that amusement park is, where the kids go to visit that park. So it's about 20 minutes outside of Philadelphia. It's not too far. Um but it's what you call the suburbs.
Okay, so basically, to train for boxing, you had to go from that county to Philadelphia. Oh, it's like 20
Yeah.
minutes.
Well, it's 20 minutes to Philadelphia, but the gym that I had to go to was over an hour. But
Wow.
we used to go to a lot of different gyms in the city because there's a lot of gyms in Philadelphia. You there's more gyms than supermarkets. So
Wow.
so if you're from Philadelphia, most likely you've traveled all around the city and you've been to a lot of the boxing gyms.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about your amateur career. How many amateur fights you had?
Um, I can't remember exactly, but I only had about 15 amateur fights. I used to play other sports. I used to play American football, basketball, um, and baseball, things like that. So yeah, all the I was just an athlete. So while I was boxing, I would take breaks and I would play other sports and do other things and stuff. So by the time I got to high school, 11th grade, no, well, actually, 10th grade is when I started taking it serious, but 11th grade is when I won the Golden Gloves. And after that, I just decided that I was going to pursue boxing as a career and turn pro.
Uh, okay, and would you have liked to have the chance to compete like for a world amateur championship or the Olympic Games? Had you had the chance at that time?
Um, yeah, but for me, I always had a professional style. Because my dad was a professional fighter and I was training with him. So at an early age, I was training like a professional. I think that that's why I became a professional because everything I did was like a professional fighter. So I didn't, the amateurs were okay, but I had way more fun when I was a professional fighter. I would rather fight for a professional world championship than the Olympics, obviously.
Okay, now let's go to your pro career, where even you had a short career, but I noticed that you fought Tevin Farmer, former world
Yeah.
super featherweight champion. So how do
Yeah.
you remember that fight with Tevin Farmer?
That fight was a good fight. He was a late replacement. I was supposed to fight somebody else, and he came in maybe about a week before the fight. It was a sold out crowd. And I didn't know anything about him. I just went there to fight him, and we fought a pretty good fight. We got nominated for the Philadelphia Fight of the Year.
Wow.
I can say that I lost not a split decision against a future world champion. And yeah, that's it. Me and Tevin Farm are good friends now. We were friends then. Everybody thinks that we don't like each other, but we're actually good friends, and he's a good guy.
Okay, so tell me, but now that you look back in that fight, what do you think? What about his style that like make you like give you a lot of trouble, a lot of difficulties?
Yeah, and you can see it in a lot of his fights still that he is very elusive. He's hard to hit and make contact with, and he's fast. Uh, so that was probably the thing that was the most gave me the most problems in the fight. Like I was not really able to hit him, but now that I look back on it, I would have had a different game plan and executed a little bit differently.
Yes, okay, I understand. I understand that Farmer also fought some big names, and he's one of those guys that fights the best. Uh,
Yeah.
and another fight that could have done against him was one against Gervonta Davis, but we never got to see that fight so far. So, do you think like probably Gervonta Davis avoid him, like he never wanted to fight Farmer? How do you see it?
Oh man. At the time, I think that the Tevin Farmer fight might have not have made him as much money as other fights, and it's just bad timing for Tevin. When that fight was going to happen, I remember he was chasing him around trying to get it to happen, but he didn't have a good enough name. And then by the time it was time for them to fight, I think it was Jojo Diaz, was that who beat Tevin Farmer?
Yeah.
Uh, so I think if he would have won that fight, then that would have forced Javante to fight him, but he unfortunately didn't win. And I think Jojo Diaz, I forget who he went on. Did he go on to fight Javante Davis? I don't know who did.
Jojo Diaz, no, he never fought Gervonta Davis.
Right. But he went on and they him and Tevin fought twice, right?
As far as I remember, Farmer and Jojo Diaz fought only once. As far as I
Only once.
remember, just
Something happened. I can't remember what happened, but I think that it would have been a good fight. Javante Davis is a strong guy, though. It would be a good tough fight.
okay. And is it? And I saw that after your last fight, which was in 2014, that you hadn't fought again. What do you think that you never fought, you didn't fight again? The
Yeah.
lack of desire. There were not that much opportunities. What do you think that happened?
Well, at the end of my career, I had got injured. I had tore a patella tendon in my knee. So
Oof.
even yeah. So in my last fight, I was preparing for the fight, and a week before, I tore my patella tendon, and I still went and tried to fight, and it wasn't successful. And I didn't have health insurance. One thing that people have to understand is that boxers don't have, health insurance unless they have a job or they can afford to pay for it with a manager or something like that. So, um, I went on with that injury for 2 years, even after the fight, until I got insurance. But also, I went into the training business at that time. I went into teaching other people how to fight. And that was something that was really, really, it was something that I could do really, really easily. I got certified to be a personal trainer for fitness. And I ended up having the desire to pursue being a businessman and opening up my own gym. And uh, instead of trying to fight through injuries and keep fighting, and sometimes even back then, I still felt like I wanted to fight still a little bit, but I think that life had pulled me more towards teaching at that time. I was 30 years old.
Okay. And now that you do that, how the idea of founding the Witherspoon Boxing and Fitness gym happen? How did it happen?
Yeah, so I started train I all I had was a pair of pads, and I started training people. My first client, I trained them for no money. Then my second client, I trained them for no money. And then the third client, I charged a little bit, and then I kept charging and charging, until the point to where I had so many people that it was time for me to open up my business. So I started out with nothing, and then I ended up getting a building, and the rest is history. It's almost 8 years now since I opened up the gym. I opened it up when I was 33, and I'm 41 years old now.
Okay, so tell me, let's talk about a little bit about your dad's career, Tim Witherspoon. Did you ever manage to see any of his fights, like the ones we had with James Smith or Larry Holmes?
I was too young to remember those fights. I remember more of the later fights, like when he fought Ray Mercer, and yeah, and Andrew Galata. Those fights, when I was a little bit older, I can remember those. And for me, it was just like every day it was normal life because that's how I grew up. And he's just we have five professional fighters in our family. I'm one. Yeah, he's one. His older brother was a professional fighter. I don't know if you heard of my cousin Chaz Witherspoon. He's a professional fighter. And then I had an aunt who was a professional fighter named Carlo Witherspoon. So there's 5 fighters in our family. This is like what we do, you know. I don't know. What does your dad do for a living?
Huh?
I said, what is it? What does your dad do for a living?
Uh, we're not talking about me, man. Come on.
Oh, why not? Why not?
I don't know.
I'm
Let's
trying to,
see. Uh,
I'm trying to ask you.
maybe, no, I got you. Wow, try
You
to sell maybe kitchen furniture. Maybe if I remember, kitchen furniture.
yeah. Well, what do you and what do you do? Are you in the like the business?
No,
Oh,
I work in a store here in South Carolina.
okay. See me. My dad was a boxer. My uncle was a boxer. My aunt was a boxer. I'm a boxer. My son is a boxer. My
Oh,
wife my wife is a boxer.
really? Your wife
No,
is a fighter
she
also?
does she's not a fighter. She just she likes to work out, you know. She just boxes for exercise.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I can understand. So tell me, now you say that you remember your dad fighting Ray Mercer.
Yeah.
How do you remember that fight with?
So that was a good fight. I think that that was the same night that Andrew Galata and Reddick Bowe fought twice, the second time. And then my dad fought Ray Mercer. And I remember being young and I got a chance to walk him out in Atlantic City boardwalk. Uh, and I remember him having a very good fight, but they robbed him that fight. And I was really upset as a young kid. um, but overall, when I look back on memories like that, it's like how lucky, you know, to be able to walk out. How many people can say that they walk out at Atlantic City Boardwalk Hall of Fame with Ray Mercer and Tim Witherspoon, you know? And then there's times where, you know, I'm at Madison Square Garden, you know, or something like that, you know. So though my childhood was pretty it was for me it's normal, but for now that I look at it, it's kind of like it's crazy that I got to do that kind of stuff, you know.
Oh well, yes, that was right. I see. Right, they fought in the rematch. That was our both Galata rematch where
Right.
Galata got disqualified for the second
Yep.
time for the low blows.
Yeah, I was there.
Oh wow. Okay, here's a comment that Axel Alberto says. He asks if you're a supporter of Sufa boxing.
Sufa. You know, I haven't had a chance to watch, but I saw that they had a pretty good main event coming up. I think that is good for fighters that are up and coming to have another avenue to try to get visual for people to actually be able to see them. And hopefully, Zufa will be able to survive, and hopefully it'll be able to have big shows for people to watch, and the other promoters won't swallow them up, or you know they won't steal their fighters. But maybe, who knows, maybe Zufa will do so good that they will be able to send their fighters to Dubai or something like that, you know. So I haven't been able to tune in, but I think that they're doing some pretty good stuff. uh I think, is it they have a pretty big cruiser or heavyweight fights coming up. What's the next show? Is it
I don't know. I will
You
have
don't
to.
know?
I don't have to find
You have
out.
to look it up.
Yeah, I have to look it
Yeah.
up. Okay, you mentioned that another fight of yours that you saw, the one with Andrew Galata, with
Yeah.
Galata.
Well, I wasn't there because it was in Poland.
Okay, but you said that you watch it. So if I,
Yeah, yeah, I watched it.
so how do you
Yeah.
remember that fight with Galata?
That fight was like later in my dad's career where, you know, a lot of people don't know that he was a single father when when I was about 13. So he was taking care of his kids and boxing at the same time. Um, so when I was watching him um, fight, I know that that wasn't my dad at 100%. You know, I know that he was uh, later in his career and he was just trying to make money and survive. I think that my dad would beat Andrew Galata uh, in the 90s or even in the early 2000s. But I think that that was a little bit of a tough fight for him.
Yeah, I remember saw some Colorado's fight, but the issue is that probably he couldn't control sometimes himself, and that's why he got himself
Yeah, in
disqualified
trouble. Yeah,
in the two fights with Riddick Bowe because of the low blows.
yeah. He also bit somebody one time. I forget who.
But for good, for don't know either. But I remember that he beat a fighter once and
Yeah,
even headbutt him once. So probably
yeah.
you think that probably Galata could have done more had he controlled his emotions.
Oh yeah. He was a tough guy, a good fighter. Um, if you look back on the fights with him and Riddick Bowe, they were pretty close. You know, I don't know if he couldn't take the punches or I don't know what it was, you know, but he just couldn't keep his composure. But he definitely was a good fighter back then.
Okay, besides the Ray Mercer and Galata fights,
Mhm.
do you manage to watch any other of your dad's fights during his career?
I mean, yeah, I mean, I went to a lot of them and everything, but it's like even in my own career, it's hard to think and just remember, you know, one fight or this fight or that fight. I have to really think about it. Um,
I understand.
yeah, so but I've been to, you know, all over with him, you know, from Florida to here. You know, you got to understand, not only was he a boxer, he was also my coach, you know. So we've done a lot together. He taught me everything.
Okay, now let's go to the state of boxing today. How do you see the sport of boxing today? Do you see can do better? You see it's been improved a little bit, or improve, or has it improved a lot? How do you see it?
So I think that boxing right now is kind of like even, you know, it's not down, it's not up. I think that is even. There's a lot of competition for boxing right now. You know that we already have MMA. Uh,
Yeah.
you know, we have that sport, but now you have bare knuckle boxing, which is making a big, you know, splash in the sport. You have team combat league where you have boxing with teams, and then you have celebrity, you know, like the Jake Paul and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. So there's a lot of different kind of boxing. I think for boxing to succeed in a traditional way, that it has to come into the future a little bit, and it's trying to come into the future, but I think that it's a little bit draconian. These other sports have found out how to market their fighters, how to uh, get fans that aren't not they Jake Paul gets fans that aren't boxing fans to watch boxing. And it's good for boxing because you know Amanda Serrano gets fans from that and other fighters get fans from that, which is a good thing. Um Bare knuckle, they are following the wrestling format where they make their stars characters, you know, these guys are uh people that people want to follow. But when it comes to boxing, you really have to be a boxing fan to follow these guys. Not if you walk down the street, you know, and you say, "Do you know who, uh, you know, Javante Davis is?" To someone, a kid that's going to school, you might not know. They might not know. But if you say Jake Paul, they might know. Um, so maybe we have to do a better job with marketing. Maybe more YouTube stuff, more internet stuff. I like that it's on Netflix now. I think that that's a really good thing. It will give more accessibility, more viewership. I think that that's the problem right now. More eyes. We need more eyes on it.
Okay, and what do you think of these things of what do you think of this fight between YouTubers, TikTokers? Do you think it's good for boxing? You think it's kind of disrespecting the sport because they don't probably haven't trained as much as a real fighter
Right.
did? How do you see it?
So I think that it is a complicated issue. It's not I like it or I don't like it. I don't like that they don't let the people know sometimes that the fights aren't real. I don't like that part. But I do like the fact that they give other fighters an opportunity to make a lot of money. I think Amanda, like back to Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor, they made the most money uh, ever in a women's fight underneath Jake Paul, you know? And those are real fighters, and he signed real fighters. Um, Mike Tyson, a retired fighter who spent his whole life fighting, got a very, very good payday when he fought Jake Paul. And I'm happy for him. He sacrificed so much of his life that I feel like he deserves that situation. Um, but we have to look at it like this. It's two different sports. The um the YouTube circuit is not the same as regular boxing. And when you try to compare them both, it just doesn't make sense. So people have to separate. They're both fighting, but they're two different things.
Okay, and we know that bare knuckle fighting, bare knuckle boxing. Well, we had that back in the 17th century, 18th
Right?
century, and little half of the 19th century, if I'm not mistaken. So, and what do you think that the fact that bare knuckle boxing is back again
Yeah.
in this modern day and age? What do
Yeah.
you think about it?
Another complicated question. Because I just went to Knucklemania last week, and the production was great. My good friend David Feldman and his brother Damon Feldman, they both did good work on that promotion. They're the promoters of bare knuckle BKFC. And I think that the key to that sport is obviously safety, and I think that they do a good job with keeping them safe. Um, I think that they do a good job with matching them well. I don't think that there's too many people on there that are world champion boxing level. I think that they are people that are good for their level of competition, which is great because two people that are equal make a good fight, even if they're not world champions. So I think that it's fair, and I just me personally, I wouldn't do it because I'm of injuries. That's the only part that I don't like.
I understand.
The injuries are hard to deal with.
Okay, as we seen also, we seen that also women's boxing has grown a lot in the last decade, last 10, 15, 20 years because we had a lot of female fighters that were that became undisputed world champions. We even have several undisputed world champions like Gabriela Fundora, Clarissa Shields, you said it, Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor,
Yeah.
also several. So what do you think of the fact that women's boxing has grown a lot? How do you see it?
Yeah, I think that is great. A lot of the times women get dismissed and people don't really give them the credit that they deserve. But if you watch these fights,
Yeah.
these women are giving their all. Amanda Serrano almost lost the eye, in one of her fights. Um, and they are very competitive too. I really think that I it's time for them to get what they deserve, and they're getting it. I really think so. A lot of the older generations, uh, they kind of didn't pay attention and kind of treated it like a circus act, you know. But now they see women can fight just as well as men, and sometimes even better. So look at Carissa Shields, and her fights are exciting. She's very skilled. I'm not saying that she can fight a man, you know, like she said. I'm not gonna say that. But I enjoy watching females fight.
Yeah, I enjoy it too because they gave us the best fights and they're there to fight for the best.
Yeah,
Man,
it's
you
like
feel
they have something to prove, you know.
yeah, yeah, and that's why we had so many unification fights and so many undisputed world title fights in women's boxing, and that's great. So tell me, what do you think can happen or it should happen so boxing can improve or get better or probably go back to the way it probably was like years ago? What do you think it kind of should happen?
Um, well, first, I think that the marketing, like I said earlier, has to improve. And in order to do that, I think that a lot of people have to stop trying to be in the camera. Uh, if you have Duran Ennis there, let's make him the star. We don't need him and Eddie Hearn to be on camera every time, you know. Um, we don't need Oscar De La Hoya fighting with this other promoter. Let's let the fighters show themselves. Let the fighters be the stars, and you guys go back in the background. We don't need any more Don Kings around um, showing off. That's one thing. I think that uh, we need to let these fighters fight, man. It's too many belts for them to avoid each other. I think that we need to lessen the uh, the belts, the awards that you get. If we only have one belt, two belts, then the best will have to fight the best. But now you can be a world champion uh, and six belts down the road. You know, not even the number one belt. You can be the American WBC lightweight, Latin American Continental Eastern
Right.
European champion. You know, uh, so I think that we have too many titles in there, and uh, yeah, that's it. The talent is there. There's always someone that's going to fight. We have to wait for the superstars to come, but there's always good matches to make. I think that wherever there's money involved, that's where we go wrong. Promoters need to spend money on marketing on these guys. They need to spend money on selling on making sure that the promoters sell the tickets, promote the show. You know, that's what it's about. I think that that's what's needed to improve professional fighting.
Okay. And I see like you're like a trainer, you're a coach, and pretty much in your gym you're probably teaching them or you're transmitting some everything that you learn and the experience you got from your boxing career. So how do you feel about the fact that you're transmitting your experience and knowledge to the other people, to the future
Yeah,
generations of fighters? How do you feel?
yeah. I feel like it's what I'm supposed to be doing. I feel good when I watch these fighters get good and they win, and I think that I'm the right person to teach people because not only do I have a lifetime full of knowledge, though, but I care about people. You know, I care about the fighters. I know what it's like to get punched. I know also what it's like to um, sometimes have issues, you know, that you don't want to train or whatever, or sometimes you have money problems or your kids are bothering you. And I'm there. with a lifetime of knowledge that I can help these people, um, hopefully get over some of the outside stuff so that they can achieve their goals. I literally like giving myself to those people so that they can achieve their goals. I already fought before. I was already on TV before. I don't care about that. What I care about is everybody being happy, having compassion and love, and just achieving our dreams. That's what it's really about, achieving our dreams. So that's what I'm here to do, help people achieve that.
Okay, so well, we can end it here. So, Tim, thank you for being on my channel. Thank you for
No
accepting this space.
problem.
And well, best of luck.
I hope
And
we get you some good followers from this, man. So
yeah,
make sure that you guys make sure you subscribe and you like and even share it for Ezekiel, okay?
oh, thank you, man. It was great. So great to talk to you, man.
No problem. I'll see you in the next one, bro.
See you next one, man. Okay, and follow me so you can watch. Follow me so you can watch more content and interview and more interviews with athletes and sports related people, including former boxers like Tim Witherspoon Jr., son of former world heavyweight champion Tim Witherspoon. So thank you for watching and see you next time.